Lama Gonjo San La Chansalo Dzogchen Sempien Tamche Dzogchen La Panze de Soul Susan Dungar Gender Che Jinchen Nersome Ponchiva Jelas Sempien Tant near the Donchana Tambanam Jinin Tzar de Soul according that in my place where I live and corresponding the times I want to say good morning. With that, I want to mention or remind now we are start to study this book, the word of my perfect teacher, Gonzalo Michalon. Generally speaking, when we follow up the liberation path or the path of the Buddha or the path of the enlightenment or the path of beneficial or path of liberation, and at the beginning it is very, very, very important to analyze our own situation, related to the first 4 chapters. These first 4 chapters give to us our own reality or relative reality, how it is. Of course, we are living in the relative reality, and also we're talking about the geographic terminologies about the solar systems and living beings, the inner different type of the species, and also each individual species also have different situation and how it is, and if we do not to investigate or do not analyze, and then it's very much difficult to understand. And but according to your compassion, according to your wisdoms, you study these first 4 chapters. Really you understand your own situation, your own condition, and also what you needed that you understood. And through that also how it is others' situation. And also you understand others what they needed. And then it's like we can to compare in the both perspective, yourself and to others, and to share order to check the our physically, verbally, mentally. And when we say that you and me, they, we, or I, you, them, but and base it like body, speech, mind, very much similarity. It doesn't matter you are human or animal or any insect, and physically there is the build up the 5 aggregations, sensation, faculties, and they are like kind of course, someone has a good facility, and someone has many arm, leg, someone's more lesser. But it doesn't matter. It's like a basic element. It's the same. Verbally, of course, each individual species or the transmigrations, they have own language, and they all the time is talking chap chap chap. It's the same we are. And mentally also, of course, same. All the sentient beings, like same as we are, searching for the comfortable, happy, pleasure, and successful things. And also everybody's try to avoid some is like unpleasant things, and like unfavorite and negative circumstances, for example like sickness, and some this sort of try to avoid any kind of this like uncomfortable things. It's the same as a human or as an animal, and everybody is like a same. And that you understood, like according your wisdoms, then we are more to be the precise, really honest to yourself. Maybe you don't need to be honest to others. To be yourself honest and precisely to check this present moment, which kind of do we have situation. Maybe some of you are very happy, someone's you are medium, someone's a little bit uncomfortable. But in the world widely, there's so many different type of, and we had just previous chapters talking about the defects of the samsara. Defects of the samsara, the meaning of the defects. It is like everywhere there's a sufferings. In the Buddhist perspective, there's the divided this our transmigrations six like the class. Each class there are different situations. Sometimes very hot, like too much hot. For example, in the our humans, like 30, 40 degrees, 50 degrees, we're going to die. There may be degrees, 1,000, 10,000, maybe degrees. Almost it is for the ourselves. It's impossible, these such situations. No food, no drink, and everything is evaporated, everything disappeared. Only kind of the torch by the hot. At the same, sometimes cool areas, we say it's like 20, like under the zero, I don't know, minus 20, 30, 40, 50, so everything's frozen. So maybe it's some situations minus maybe 10,000, 100,000. How is they can to live in these situations? But also they need to this experience, like a feeling, sensations, same as we are. And like this, someone's very much hungry, under the control, and even in the our humans realms, there's defects of the birth, old age, sickness, death, so on. And therefore, we call the sixth class is there's such defects, like not free from sufferings. But then it's like we can say, now this is unavoidable. I need to be there all the time, or I can be liberate. I can to go out from this defects basket or the like class. And they said, yes, the answer is there is liberation from this class, the sixth class of the samsara. And then it's like you need to be honest to yourself. Okay, I want to be really too honest. For example, like in the world of my perfect teacher says, like when we are ourselves is like very become strange and we don't listen to the any teachings. Maybe it's like someone telling to us, this is a right, this is a wrong, but maybe according to our arrogant, proud, and something like this kind of the preventing in order to hear the other some instructions. Of course, then it's like whatever, even Buddha, Bodhisattva, teacher, or some is like a compassionate things telling to us, it never go into our heart, and like a kind of the never coming. That is like a kind of the defects of the pots. Something is like upside down. And in these situations, then our life is very much neutral, and there is like a kind of the uncertainty, and also it's like we are doing something like a kind of looks like curse, or looks like a zombie, looks like kind of shape or the form of the human beings, but we don't know what we are doing. And we are concerning, we are permanent, we are forever is here, and presently whatever we have experienced, when we have happy, oh I am happy, that's all, I don't want to prepare any futures. Or it's like sometimes when we have suffering, so I am suffering, surely in the future forever I'm like this, like a crime. And then it's like this sort of our like path is very much distracted or confusion and diluted. And then it's like we need to be honest. You want to continue like this, or to be a little bit, to be precise. And also Patrul Rinpoche, he said that in the heart treasure, surely you love yourself. Surely you want to do something, good things for you even. Of course, even you don't want to concern others as yourself. Or someone says, yeah, I don't care myself, I don't care others, I don't whatever I want to do it. But you talking about I want to do something that I want to do it. What do you want? You want something, there you have wish. You want something, that is you make happy to you. Maybe you want, but you can't get what you do, logically. And yes, you can do it, but what you want, you do it, maybe the consequence is terrible for you. And like this, for example, one person say, I want to jump from the top of the bed into, and maybe I can to fly, I can to excited. Everybody say, no, please do not. Why not? I want to jump, very excited. Then your life is maybe you die, or maybe you injured, maybe you damaged. And damage. It's what is problems. Die. And what is the problem? And then this person's jumped and crashed under the ground, of course, broken everything. And then it's like, how are you? I said, yeah, I'm pain. I need to go to hospital, cry, help. Then says, that is the you wanted, yes? And now we don't need to help because you wanted that. No, I didn't think about this kind of situation. And then it's like something happened, forever handicaps, and to stay all, how long is this person's life, but be in the wheelchair. And then it's the destroyed. Then it's like, then sit on the wheelchairs. What happens? Yeah, I did some stupid things. Then regret, and a lot of like kind of guilty, and then it's problems. Like this, someone's we have like this. Then it's okay. What you want, you can do it. But if we argue, it is surely you said you want something. That means you want happiness, excited. And also happiness, happiness, sufferings without cause never existence. And here is our this chapter is talking about the benefit of the liberation. Benefit? What is the meaning of the benefit? Oh, today it is you make a delicious breakfast. It is such a benefit for my stomach. I'm so satisfied or sufficient. Thank you very much. It's benefit. And also liberation. This morning early I was so hungry. I'm searching for food and to be kind of the liberation from these hungers. You receive, or maybe you got some food. Now I released my hunger. And like this, maybe at the moment we have very much, there is a sickness. The sickness of the 84,000 negative emotions. For example, the sickness of the 5 poisons. It is a truth. When you have desire attachment, it's a sickness. You cannot to meditate, you cannot to study, you cannot do nothing. When you have the desire attachment, then only these feelings is like this ideas are coming again and again and again occupied mind. And then it's such suffering, which you are thinking about object, and then you are kind of difficult to sleep, difficult to think. And also it's like the anger. When anger is arrive, it doesn't matter any anger or version is coming angry. It's like a burning. In the 37 practice of the Bodhisattva says anger like fire. The kind of the burning everything. Even our mind looks burning the angers to burn all the virtues. Even like this, anger is very much sickness. We need to liberate from that. And the same as the jealousy, arrogant, proud, so on. All these negative emotions, afflictions, it's like a kind of torch to the mind. And of course, we don't want these thoughts, 100%. I don't want, but it's very difficult to get rid of that. When this is arrive inside, it is like kind of completely changed. For example, if I'm angry and it's like if I'm to follow up to be the slave of the angers, and I can to do some many shame and like kind of awful things. And at that moment, it's angers push it to you. Maybe you can to give very harsh, ugly word and beat and killing, and maybe it's you die yourself or you kill 2 others. And certainly anger says, bye, I'm going away. Left is our mind. Such disaster things happened. And then it's like, but anger is disappeared. And then it's like this. This anger is often is a coming robber, killer. Really is like the worst, our enemies. It's like this, same as the disattachment, ignorance, jealousy, so on. And we need to free from that, liberation from that. That's we seek. And that's according that we are very much confused on the past. We are came through on the past, forget the previous life. But even in this life, for example, maybe it's like even I want to say yesterday whole day what I did, I don't know. It's in the morning what I did, after the lunch what I did. It's difficult. I need to very much to carefully to think I didn't. And each hours, could you tell me where you sit, where you did? Impossible. Even the yesterday. And 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, completely ignore. 1 month, 2 months, and 1 year, I don't know really. It's a kind of image, a kind of memory there, but sometimes maybe deja vu, it's almost forget it. I don't know. But some is like mind is inconceivable. Some is tendencies. We can't see it, but there is habitual tendencies, patterns there is. And we learn, we experience something, we can to remember. But the situation is like really gone, confused. And then the future is, I don't know, one in the second in the future, what's going on. Like sometimes it's like wild animals, and they're running, afraid for the like a kind of the predators in the wild cats or the killer. But the wild like kind of some the predator or killer or animal, they are very intelligent. They are waiting in the front. They're hiding. But this animal, they don't know this direction is there is this a killer or like a eater is there, but the direction is running, and certainly then they are meeting. Of course, they catch in the neck, they kill. Like this, we are like kind of going. I'm going to future. We have a little bit of planned doing tomorrow, but we don't know. I have some plan this afternoon, but maybe your plan is become truth or not. We don't know. And 1 minute after, who can to say? Like with the how do you say? With the how do you say? With the cast futures, like kind of the telling to the futures what's going on. Maybe some omniscient or maybe some enlightened like this. Make the joke, for example, first Patrul Rinpoche say, sometimes I can to remember in the past 500 lifetimes. Maybe in the future I can to remember 500 lifetimes. He make joke. Maybe it's but it's difficult. Maybe someone when you be enlightenment, that probably is very much for our perspective, very much confused. And then this is also we need liberation. Then to be honest at ourselves and to think about beneficial liberation. We are here is talking about the benefit of the liberations, and there is like some intelligent, some like kind of the good persons has wish to be liberate, and then they are thinking they can do searching. Of course, there is worldly things. Generally in our life, there's two activities: worldly activity and spiritual activities. Worldly activities, maybe some in the civilization, some intelligent in our human societies. It's a really successful. Really, for example, generally speaking, in the materials, very much depends the money. Maybe someone is like a trillions, billionaires like this. Whatever they need, they can to buy. Even the since some like person want to buy the British Queen's palace, they can to buy. And it's like a kind of some riches to make the fun. And I was in London, and England and Americans, they made business one bridge. You know, in American it's like new country, and the British is like very long old country. There's many famous monument, and there is like what called the London bridges, very famous. Maybe ancient times, not now. There is a bridge, and then the American guy is inconceivable rich, and also we need in America London Bridge. And he said, I want to buy the London Bridge. Then this, of course, British, very intelligent, say, yeah, I can to sell you, no problems. And then he said, yes, you need to sell me. Yes, and then after we haven't got London Bridge, but US is there is London Bridge. Okay. And then he showed the wrong way. Like very much similarity in the London, these rivers, there are many bridges. One bridge, the famous bridge, look like similarities, and he sold. And of course, millions, trillions. But these guys is slowly, these bridges to take even the part atoms like bricks, everything is transformed into the US. Then there is, they call the breach. I said, later I said, oh, sorry, I made mistake. This is not really the London breach. I said, then he was angry, but too late. Then I thought, wow, this some rich people, so what do they do? Even the bridge is like a bricks. Maybe they can to build their similarities, but they don't want just to fun from this London, this one bridge to destroy, to cut, and they bring to into the USA. Like this, some riches, they just fun what they want, but those are the liberate from the sufferings. I'm not sure. Have you seen in your eye? Have you heard with your ear? Someone is fully liberated from materials level, materials. But I'm not sure in the materials perspective for our human sons, very intelligent. We're all the time running after it, but difficult to have great liberation. Then we created spiritual path, spirituality, and of course it's business a little bit. Of course, someone is the real to search, and when we look at the some in the different the spiritualities, I am very much strange guys, and the founder of the spiritualities, how it is really. For example, in Tibet, there is one like spirituality I'm often to say. They call the owl spirituality. Owl, you know, the bird, big eye and here something. And one person say, I want to become the spiritual guide. And but of course without teacher, and he's follow up his own idea. What can I do? What can? And then he says, I'm going to retreat. He heard to make retreat after something happened. Then he went to retreat, but he don't know how to practice. But of course, he thought it's something in the space. There's a powerful sentient beings. It's a god or deities. He's something is like to look in the sky, say something every day. And then he's thinking, how I can to create. And then suddenly he was in the balcony. In the front of his house, there is one tree. There is one bird just landed. And then he never saw before that. And then it's like, that may be very nice bird. Maybe that is my vision, something. And he's asked, you are my God or deity. He said, bird said, yes. And then I want to follow you. Yes. And then it's like, you are my path, he says, and then flight. And then he was very happy, and he drawing, and he says something. And then he coming out, I realized that something, my date is like this, and drawing this. And then he just talk. And then certainly some followers there is. But reality himself is also very much confused. Maybe it's like the basic motivation is, maybe it's like also in the word of my perfect teacher, even we practice Dharma, maybe thinking about future teacher, famous, or like great something. Also, this is not really Buddha's path, liberation. And like this, maybe it's like sometimes we don't know. It's like a spiritual path, who is created, who is founded. But in our perspective, okay, we are follow up that one India guy. His name is the Siddhartha, and we look at his biographies at the beginning, and he's concerning, like when even he was a child, he look at the insect, and he go to the school. His friend, student, poor, and then it's like a kind of concern. Why it is that we are the sufferings? He is only concerning the suffering of the sentient beings or the himself. And I need liberation from suffering. Then I want to get the power. I will to create something. I will become the famous. Maybe never at like a kind of the thinking. It is like how I can to dispel or like diminish or eradicate suffering of the mind, suffering of the others. And then it's like this feeling stronger, and then he give up the palace. He went through like this. Of course, also we talked. He's finally his own way, and he discovered. It is like, what is the discovered about the liberation? And liberation is depends the our own self. Liberation is also comes from the our own self. Of course, there is some conditions, of course, necessary, but real liberation is really we can make our own self, because when we have mind, we are not materials, and then it's like kind of through the mind. Of course, this is the part of the spirituality, but he is like really talking about the truth of the externally, truth of the inner mind, truth of the relative, truth of the absolute truth. There's something kind of the hiding. There's something is like a kind of proclaim, like a kind of like really not but in order to under the control, and to say you should do like this, you shouldn't do like this, not like this, telling kind of the truth, then depends the our own self. And when we are like this, maybe I want to say is like for our democratic perspective is wonderful, fantastic. We don't need to believe devotion, faith into the like Buddha. And liberation is our own responsibility. Liberation is our own benefit. It is not Buddha's benefit. It's not Bodhisattva's benefit. It's liberation is our own benefit. And that is, we need to think them. Some people says, I don't know liberations. Okay. And why I need to study the Dharma? You don't need to study Dharma, but it's how you can to find the sources of good. Sources of the goods bring the good of the happiness. That you need to find. It's very important. I'm saying it's like okay, I'm myself. I don't need to believe the causality. I don't need to believe any spirituality. I don't need faith, devotion to others. Okay, that's okay. But I'm thinking is happiness. Then it's a question. Okay, even myself to tell. Okay, guy, how you can to find the source, the cause of the happiness. And if I'm says, yeah, the cause of the happiness to watch football match, this is ridiculous. Or the source of the happiness, something, entertainment or food, alcohol. There's maybe it's like very much, of course, food, drinks also is, happy is a little bit. This is not definitive. Others like someone is like different, like entertainment, but they are like a kind of, yesterday we talking about getty pleasure, or like finally it's like kind of sad is coming. You first very excitement, wonderful, but then it's like once you have, it's never be satisfied. Again and again. We are die inside it, but never ever to be contentment. And then it's like this, and in this perspective, then is the really good source of for the happiness. Maybe it is like a forever happiness. Maybe it's also it's like Buddha's. Maybe very much Bodhisattva Buddha's is telling the truth. It's of course everything is depends the circumstances. It says, the Hevajra says, but the mind is entirely depends on the mind, our minds. Really, it is the truth. When we really to search, to investigate in our life, mind is the most important. If mind is happy, everything is happy, good. Mind is suffering, whatever you have good conditions is a hell. And like this, maybe someone's living in the palace and they get delicious food, delicious drink, everything. But maybe their mind is something is happy, non-happy. They are hell. Palace is a prisoner. Maybe someone is like living in the some desperate some place, maybe solitude or maybe remote, maybe conditions very poor, just a little bit of food, drink, clothes. But maybe if mind is happy, is most richest, most happy. They are all the time smiling, wonderful, because they control something. Then it's like happy or not happy. Very much depends the mind. And through the mind, maybe we are talking about liberation. And particularly in a Buddhist perspective, liberation, it realizes our real mind. Then we become big liberation. That we are thinking right now. And then is seriously want to follow up the liberation path. And then we need to listen to the Buddha's teaching, how he be liberated, to study these 3 sessions of the sculptures and meditate and to practice 3 trainings, discipline, samadhi, wisdom, so on. And then it's like, of course, maybe which kind we want to be. There is the example. Would you like to become same as level of the Shavaka or level of the Pachika Buddha or the Bodhisattvas? Then that is like a principle follower of the liberation path or to the liberation. And why is like we have this example? This example is very good. This is like kind of we can compare to our own like doing things. And for example, we can to say driver or the kitchen boss. Take example, there are many things. For example, some kitchen boss and they are not much useful like how do you say greedy things or the different food, but small stuff or I don't know, but like things. Some is they use methods make very delicious. We say, wow, superior kitchen bath. Someone is like doing okay, but it's also as you need to use many things. But yeah, okay, it's delicious. It's a middling like kind of a kitchen bath. Someone is using many things. The kitchen is very mess, dirty, hurry, angry, and it's like and not on time. And then suddenly comes half is cooked, half is not cooked, and it's like some is salty, someone's chili, someone's like this. Then it's we say, oh, lesser kitchen bath, like a kitchen boss. And like this is like when we are doing, maybe this food is maybe greetings or like all the whatever they in the kitchen is the same, but the doer is different. And then its result is a little different. Maybe the delicious food of the Buddha's teaching, liberation, pity instructions, the system guide is exactly the same. But in order to practice, that there are different followers. Maybe it's like yesterday we say the Shavaka, Pachika Buddha, and like kind of the Bodhisattvas. This is like perfect Buddhahood. You can to say Bodhisattvas maybe. Buddhahood, I'm really okay, perfect Buddhahood of Bodhisattvas. And then this is like also we a little bit to study is wonderful, and we can to like take example. Why is we can to take example? If we are like to be same as a follower of Shavakas, Pachika Buddhas, and how it is, which kind of result. It is a perfect Buddhahood? Maybe not. And then it's like maybe it's three of them. They said it's like a Buddhahood. Like it's a common term. It's a arhat. Like Shavaka's arhat, Pachika Buddha's arhat, Bodhisattvas arhat. And arhat, the name of arhat, same name, arhat, but it's like, according to the Bodhisattvas, perfect arhats. In Tibetan, it's a dachambas, dachams. Dacham, da is the enemies, cham is destroyed or the eliminated. And that is like in Sanskrit, arhat. And then it's like the these three levels and result. Also, if we do not study, then we a little bit difficult. Am I correct? Of course, we are the, how do you say, it's like follow up the how do you say, three sections of the scriptures, and absolutely we are follow that, and also we are try to realize it three trainings. Maybe you can to say it's the Tripitaka. It is the transformation dharma, and the three trainings. It's like the kind of the three-folded training, like this three, like a training, discipline, samadhi, wisdom. That is the dharma of the realization, and that is a like, of course, it's a basically we practice, and it doesn't matter when we follow up the Shavaka, Pachika Buddha, Bodhisattvas. Basically, just rely on that. We study these three sections of the scripture. Try to meditate using this. How do you say, to rely? They realize it like these three trainings, and then it's like this. They are coming, journey, traveling. And then it's like traveling. Okay, I'm traveling. Then do you have the schedule or schedules? Yeah, there is schedule. It's like kind of the 5 schedules. And then it's like a 10 stages. It's like kind of you can to reach, and there is a kind of the place, or it's like a kind of the stations. You can to say it's like, and like this is maybe in the Buddhist perspective 5 paths, 10 bhumis, and this we can to measure, fathom our path. Even we follow up the Shavaka Pachika Buddha of Bodhisattvas, and then it's like a kind of that there's a lever. Maybe we can to check a sign how it is going on, and a little bit there is a kind of the feelings you have. And of course, maybe sometimes we say, I should to have overviews to understand these levels. Sometimes the people says, maybe I reach already 10 bhumis. I really? That's, I have feelings. Okay. And someone says like, I'm in the first bhumis. Someone says, no, I'm still not yet entered in the first path. But when it's like we say, it's like a first path, it is when you take the refuge vows. You take in refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and that is the beginning of your path. And after you that, then you like kind of really you understand the liberation, and need to rely on the 3 jewels. Like for example, if we want interest to go to from Dharma City, go to Dharma City. Okay, well, I'm in Brussels. Just if you don't like a kind of the acting in order to go to Dharma City, then there's like kind of nothing possess like a movement. But certainly it's like says, oh, I need a car. Maybe your own car. Someone say, yes, really, I'm to enter into this car, like kind of take refuge, and like kind of the supporting, and then you to enter into the car. You are kind of the passengers. Maybe it's like the car and the drivers. In order to reach the Dharma cities, you can say car is Dharma, maybe driver is the teacher, yourself is like a passenger, and maybe in the car there's 2, 3, 4 people, and everybody is relying on this driver and these cars. Okay, let's go to. If everybody is wonderful, cheerful, nice, you journey from which place to Dharma city, wonderful. No obstacle, no argumentation, and each station stop, drink tea, coffee, and very enjoyable journey. And of course, is this cars very bad, to broken, often wheel engine, and drivers often accident like this, and not good. And then we are like really taking the best driver. It's a Buddha and Bodhisattvas. Particularly we say so Buddha is the my driver, and the car is he made it, like kind of Buddha's companies created the great car. It is the Dharma. Okay, whoever like kind of concerning that is the passenger, because of more compassion, more wisdom during the journey times, and what we need they can to support to fantastically say. And that time is like we enter into the path, but then we are going to through this process. There is some process. Of course, we talk on the 5 path, 10 bhumi, but it's a little sometimes difficult. Same as our universities to studies. We study from the kindergarten, and then we finish it like the university or PhD, I don't know. But that moment is like someone says, you studied everything. You proudly say yes. Can you show me how you can to show? I don't know, something in my brain or in my mind. And you certainly like to globally how much. For example, if I'm looking in this temple, it's a little roughly where it is. I can to see things. But in what you install into your mind there's quite difficult to immediately to look there, but you each is less coming to the directions. For example, if you study, okay, you studied in the mandalas, then mind is going to this stole part and coming, and then it's like mind is, yes, you studied that, you like kind of remember, you are like very much skillful, you learn it, you have all tendencies, and but difficult to see. But then it's like, okay, you are doctor, or you are like Campbell, or you are learned, and you like kind of but how you came to here, and you can to resume in your like kind of, yeah, that's my study, that's my, you like kind of material where it's like your file something. This for the kindergarten's education. This is a high school. This is how you can to see impossible. But there is the science, like we say, it's like, this person's learned. Any kind of, you ask this person's immediately like telling, and very fluently, we say it's like transparently. And like this, our like the realization or the increase our path or development of the path, honestly, we really serious. There's sometimes, of course, science, like each path. Maybe yesterday we talking about the first path, the path of the accumulation merit. Maybe it is like first timers, the lesser path of the accumulation merit, and that times we practice the full application of the mindfulness, and then we are analyze our body, feeling, mind, phenomena. Then it's like how it is like your process, like in the mentally going on, and maybe it's like you understand more and more your body, and maybe lesser detachment, lesser sensitivities. Maybe is understand your body like a kind of it is a contaminate or incontaminate, permanent or not permanent, and then it's like maybe you can do more to understand your body. You understand more reality of the body, and the mind is easily work with body. And then it's like, of course, finally, very important, or all the practitioners' perspective, Shavaka, Pachika Buddha, and Bodhisattvas. And finally, it is what it is, really, this body. Of course, dualistic mind is holding. The body is very much destructible, fragile, and sensitivity, and it's like impermanent. Everything is according that there is a sickness, many different. But maybe it is that is the mind is too much kind of the control, too much greed, too much holding kind of the dear way. And then it's like certainly if you realize that the nature of the body, maybe body is not past, body is not future, body is not presently, but there are something, but it's like the we say it's like a luminosity or something in the interruption of the appearance things. Of course there is a body functional and everything, but in the essence it's like birthless, deathless. Then it's like some in their expression of birth, old age, sickness, death, it doesn't hurting to the mind. And like also birth, death, old age, sickness, death is the part of that why you need to get rid of, why you need to afraid. And this part of the yourself is like nothing, like birth also come from the yourself, old age is come from the yourself, is sickness also of course maybe you think is something external, but maybe also sick. Okay, you sick, them who sick? If I'm say I am sick, my body is problem, what body itself, sickness. Also death is come from body itself. Of course this four like kind of sufferings occurring on the body. And then is this body is why is it become the fragile? Why is the contaminate this kind of? Because of the dualistic mind, confused mind. Confused mind is more clearly, more understand the nature reality. Then is body is also body is nothing like kind of making problem to the mind. Like same verb, same in the mind. And also is the feeling exactly like this. And finally we research this four application of the mindfulness, body, feeling, mind phenomena are is like a lucidity. It is luminosity. Yes, you can to feel, you can to see, you have the appearances, but they are the rainbow, they are the really hallucination of the mind. And also sometimes in Guru Rinpoche PT instruction in the Pardo say, all the appearances are the yourself, a shadow, self appearances. Why you need to scare? Maybe samsara is your shadow, nirvana is your own shadow, your own like kind of self appearances. You project it, and then it's like you don't need to abandon the samsara, hatred to and nirvana to try to get, not necessarily like this. Therefore, through this analysis, sometimes which kind of like vividly, clearly to understand no substantial existence, and that is like sometimes definitive, like kind of the how do you say, determined, confirm, like kind of like the informally, or I don't know, it's really precisely. And some in the text says you see to five, you, or maybe it's like you perceive the five object of the desirables, same as the ordinary people or Buddha and Bodhisattvas, they perceive their faculties, it's the same. There's receiver, the 5 objects, same thing. But if the mind is give educations, perceivers itself as different understanding. Understandings making the liberations. You do not understand, there's no liberation, and you understood liberations. And like this, maybe it is like you when you have big hallucinations, maybe you recognize hallucination as hallucinations. Why you need to afraid? It's my hallucination. Very funny. Like kind of the TV or televisions. Maybe someone's hallucination is take serious. There's something. Maybe it's like hurting. Maybe ghost, demon, something. Then scaring, running, scream, and try like many to try to escape. But they make joke. These sort of things are like a way of the donkey. Donkey very much afraid on shadow, big ear, strange body. I never saw it. It is not me. And then he run. But wherever donkey run, shadow is there. Never separate. If donkey recognize on shadow, why need to concern? Shadow is shadow. Body is not there, no shadow. And self shadow. Like this, when we analyze this 4 application of the mindfulness, sometimes it's like we have this sort of I can't see, but I'm not holding like truly existence. And if someone says like I'm here and you are there, this world, everything's really existent, maybe you do not argue it, but you the inside is you have a little bit kind of petty mind. And someone says like never heard Dharma, or maybe never analyzed it, say I'm forever and my family should to be permanent, myself is never I'm going to die, and like constantly like this. Maybe when you hear, when you look at this person, maybe you don't say nothing, you don't need to hurting, but you are a little bit inside compassion or pity. Yeah, this person do not understand. Then it's like this kind of thing. And sometimes quoting that, it's like I'm permanent, I'm forever, I need this, I not need that, and I want to create this, I want to do like this, I hear wish like this and that. And say, I told you like once my root teacher wanted to make a poa one person, and then he making them poa, and his person has big sickness, going to die, and confusion. But then he says like, according to the name, I'm here. Now you are like the death process started. This person says, I don't think so. And then it's like telling to the future plan. And I'm getting better. I'm going to building there. My children's like this. And then it's my root teachers telling to this person again. I never listened. Talking on. Certainly, it's the breathe out in slowly going. And Rinpoche's making poet very, very deep. And come back. Also, almost Rinpoche's coming the tear. If you have too much belief, too much clingings, it's like this. Maybe he made a poa, this person's okay, but it's a very, very difficult. Like this, sometimes we have very much confused to holding in this world, and then it's like more suffering, more problems like this. And then it's these situations when we are practice the 4 application of the mindfulness, body, feeling, mind, and the phenomena. Then it's sometimes it's like when you see the beautiful phenomena, beautiful, but it is a rainbow. This kind of immediately your realizations coming. And it's like kind of something, your situations wonderful. maybe suddenly you can earn the trillions or something. You become the famous in the television, newspaper, talking. Maybe this is maybe my dream, and this which kind of valuable, very stand, nothing attachment. That is the sign of the realization. It doesn't making movement of your mind. Maybe it's like some certainly your body is collapsed, sick, old, and it's like someone's beaten. It's a really all situations. Maybe many big enemies. Going looks like under the ground, and that moment maybe it's like this is also my dream, like dream. It is not permanent. Oh, now like this situation, more to experience what it is, and think maybe this situation is become sometimes sort of wonderful things. For example, in the 37 practice of the Buddhist Savas, it is says like if you seek, if you have problems, and also that for the Buddhist Savas is a great. This is your path. You experience that these sufferings, the unpleasant situations, then you can to create more bodhicitta. Now I understand suffering of the sentient beings. And then it's like bring this suffering into the path, more concerning, not complain who give me sufferings, what this situation, the feeling of the sufferings, to thinking, yeah, that is. Of course, this kind of feeling nobody's don't want. Now I understood other sentient beings' situations. And then when you are happy, so happy times, also you think, this is the happy, yes? Wonderful, yes. This kind of happy liberation, I think is I need, others need. This my like, and sometimes when we have happiness, this is permanent? No, surely. Like look at the way are some people. I make joke, okay? Sometimes I'm provoking some students. Sometimes students excited, like almost flying, and then I go to provoke, and immediately we say it's like you birds hit some stone or like someone's impact, and then bird like this immediately fell down, and why you say like this? Then it's a cry, and then it's a tears come, and then immediately say, "Oh, sorry," and slowly say, "Ha," and the tears take care, and like this mind is a very very much up down. But maybe it is like when you understand that, not necessarily everything is like negative circumstances coming, like a kind of empty nature, and it's like kind of the dream. It is also a kind of hallucination, and this is also part of like this. Nature is emptiness. Nature is like to nature's nature, emptiness, like this. And also it's like temporary happy up, someone's provoked, doesn't matter. It's like this. Make a joke is like we say it's like when we study and dharma, something like this, then become more and more fragile. That means it's not good science. When we study the dharma and more, it's a very much more stable mind, and it's like a kind of something is something is like someone says be in the front of this. Now everything is exposure. Are you afraid? Okay. I make joke once I fly to Dzogchen. In Georgia, I'm very much scared all the times in the evening. This value landing aeroplane, so much turbulence. Each time, I don't know. In the evening they have the I don't know geographical. This all the times like there is weather is a strong wind like this. Then once it's like one student we have there and big turbulence. And everybody says aeroplane is going to then everybody sweat and suddenly I'm holding in my chair very tight. Suddenly I forgot it. I think it's this student's arm also I hold with, and then this look at me is laughing. Why are you holding this? If really two aeroplanes crash it, doesn't matter you holding or not holding, chair and yourself is disappeared. Chair doesn't help. You are afraid that it's very much shame and attached to relax it. Explosion. Anyway, how many times we exploded, but we never mind it died. And maybe it's like this. And that moment, maybe this kind of situations you experience, never cry, never shouting. Like this, for example, when we practice the jut, okay, we practice jut, I'm giving my body who want to eat my body, who want to drink my blood, and says sometimes like okay, in the temple is very good, no problem. Someone's going to in the cemetery, someone go to the empty place, you hear many different sound. Maybe some certainly is your visions coming, a lot of creatures coming to eating in your body. What are you going to do? And like practice jot, you need to cut your panic and the how do you say it's like a believing of the your existence and the holding of the permanent, holding of the belief truly existence. If you like under your this mind, in your mind is demolished or evaporated this fear and belief of the truly existence, permanent, forever things, and you become the very much brave heart. Then it's like more calm and kindness. It's like more we can to take our own position. We say it's like not changeable, and you provoke or not to provoke. Almost it's like same situations. You die or you alive, you sick or not sick. It's a kind of the same. It's like a kind of the maintain because the mind is got more and more strength. Mind is has more education. Mind is become more like kind of the conquerors or the victorious. Like this, then it's the science of that realization of this four application of the mindness, and then it's like our accumulation. Maybe first is almost to be done, and top of that, and then second time is for abandonment, perfect abandonment. Perfect abandonment also is like we have a fully notion of what is the right, what is the wrong. And then is the right things, if not there, missing, we collect into our mind, maybe body, speech. For example, like turn positive actions. If there is lack of that, any perspective of that, we collect. Something we have into our body, speech, mind, as we make more like developed that. Then that is the perfect activity, conduct like abandonment. And of course we understood the perfectly what is the incorrect. If we have something in the body, spirit, mind incorrect, like for example 10 negative actions, maybe then it's like to stop. When you stop, okay, today you stopped, but tomorrow you do again, not good. But it's like today you stopped any disturbing emotion, negative, these 10 negative actions, and then it's like even in the something is coming, you immediately rely on the antidote and like to pacify, purify, and never like kind of doing again. This kind of full abandonment and fantastic, then our minds become more strong and like a kind of how do you say, good in the accumulation. Same time is why we call the accumulation meritus. We study, reflect on, and it's like a kind of struggling what is correct, what is incorrect. And then his mind is become more stable. Maybe we are like a kind of the more mind settle. We more to study about the sheni and the lantong. This is the taming process of the mind to meditations. How to meditate? You discovered from your body, speech, mind through this first true path, the lesser middling path of the accumulation merit. And then it's like there is the 4 legs of the miracle, or 4 miracle legs. I don't know, like to say this. And this one is like in the Get Knowledge, what it says. Or the 4 feet of miraculous power. And the 4 feet of miraculous power, that means it's like your mind is like more workable, like mind is more kind of advantageous, and maybe it's in yourself there is a confident. My mind is maybe disturbing emotions are coming easily to control, and also this how it is to measure, and this measurement is the coding the 9, coding the 9 methods how to meditate, like 9 like tools, the how to meditate. First is like kind of the resting on it. So rest on it means that time is like very much our mind is running around, and like kind of the wild horse. Wild horse, like a kind of you want to catch. Sometimes you need to find delicious food, smelling like a horse love this kind. You put there, sometimes horses go around, coming back, and certainly a little bit pick up the maybe one full of the mouth and then run away. And then you go to slowly to near. Then they come back, come back. Then finally you can go close, you give and touch, and then you can return. Like this is like first. Then there's go to more. It's like this. This is the methods. The 9 methods is very important. I think you have in the Yorsheda book and the Campbell's book. Maybe you read again. And this through these 9 methods, you should to establish the one-pointedness mind of the desire elements. Maybe can you searching that in Tibetan? No sense Jigme. One-pointed mind of desire elements, and that you like settled, that you establish through the meditation of the Shani, and then you can do more. Maybe also afterwards, maybe you are like kind of going to the path, maybe in the second path, conjunction. Why it is like after that you cross maybe the 4 feet of the miracle paths, maybe something is, it's like warmth is coming, confidence is coming. That moment maybe you already reach path of the junction, path of the like a kind of the how do you say joins. Join itself has, I think it's like the 4 steps, and it's called the warmth, peak, forbearance, superiors, like dharmas. I think that's, I don't need to mention to you knows very well. And this 4, maybe coffee. Yes, coffee. Half an hour